What's up guys, Dr. Webb here. So a few weeks ago, I made a video about what not to do when applying to certain graduate programs like medical school, dental school, law school. But I made it specifically for my summer mentorship program. For those that don't know, I recently started a summer mentorship program where I selected students to have the opportunity to hang out with me in the operating room, in clinic, in the cadaver lab, and it was a great time. We even had a networking event where we had local physicians come to the event and just give advice and tips. And that's what it's all about. Growing up, I didn't have that mentor or that someone I could rely on to help me get to that next point along this path. It wasn't until I was kind of late into the process that I started meeting mentors, and that was really helpful for me. So one thing I always told myself is that once I became a physician, that I would reach back to help others get to this point. So the Dr. Webb Summer Mentorship Program will be every summer. I will be selecting students based off of certain criteria. This past year, we had over 75 applicants. It blew my mind, it's crazy. But it made it very challenging to select just 2 students. I did have some other students kind of join in and attend some of the events with me that I selected, but it was very challenging just to select 2 people. And due to my schedule, I could only handle so many students at once. My schedule was very busy, and hopefully in the future we can grow it even larger. I put out a video recently about what not to do when applying, and these tips and advice can be applicable to applying to medical school, dental school, law school. These same tips can be applicable, and I'll put that video right up here. But I wanted to make a video about what to do when you're applying to not only my summer mentorship program, which the application will be open in January of 2023, and I'll put the link in the description right below. These are some things that you should do. Number 1, I think it's important to apply early. You need to get your application in as soon as possible, especially if you know that the application's coming up. For medical school, it's the same pretty much application every year. They ask the same questions and the same prompts. So somehow try to get your hands on that application. You can fill out those prompts early. Other times, the earlier you get your application in, the better. A lot of schools are on rolling admissions, which means they start accepting students. Let's say the application for medical school opens up May 1st. They start reviewing those applications right away. So if you don't get your application into July 1st or August 1st, you really are putting yourself at a disadvantage. Same thing with my program. I had students that emailed me and they were like a week late or a couple days, right before the application was due. And there was excuses, hey, my house caught on fire, or my dog ate my application, or all sorts of things. And I understand that things happen, but when it comes to a application where it's very competitive, it may just take one of those small things to really disqualify you. So get your application in early. Make sure that your application's complete. And that's the second part. I had prompts that students needed to fill out. Some students barely filled out the prompts, or they went off in this wild tangent about something else. Answer the prompts. It doesn't have to be long. Just like prompts for medical school, you need to answer those prompts without going off into la la land. And some students didn't even answer the prompts. So those students, their applications, for me, that's a red flag. It's one of those things that it becomes so competitive. Things like that. It's not to say that you're going to be a bad doctor or you will never get into medical school, but you have to follow directions. The third thing is to make sure that you're sending in the correct information. I had students that sent in letters of recommendation that said like 2019 on it, or addressing the PA program in California. If your application requires a letter of recommendation, you should have it addressed to whatever program that you're applying to. Don't use a old letter of recommendation, just send that in. For me, if you want to apply to my program, you need to have someone write you a letter of recommendation. And I wasn't really strict. It didn't have to be a doctor. Could it be a PA, your supervisor, someone that knows you really well that can speak on your work ethic and your character? So make sure that you're addressing all of the prompts and you're filling out the application in its entirety. Those things are really important. The next thing that you can do to make your application more competitive and really make the programs, whatever program that you're applying to, make them understand that you're serious about getting in, is to follow up. I had one student that dropped off a letter of intent and also his application to my office. And I understand that everybody is not local, but you can send a follow-up email, send it to the school and just ensure, hey, this is such and such. My name is Michael James and I applied to your program last week. I just wanted to follow up and make sure that you received all of the application materials and that nothing's due to me. I really would like to attend this program. These are the reasons why. I look forward to hearing from you. So something short and simple like that, just to ensure that they received all of your material and the application requirements, because the last thing that you want is to realize that you didn't send everything in or they didn't receive something. So it's always nice to send a follow-up email, make sure that they have everything that is required. So I would definitely recommend sending that email. So these are a few of the tips that I would recommend when you're applying to graduate programs, whether that's dental school, law school, medical school, or to my summer mentorship program. You have to make sure that you get your application in early. You have to make sure that you are addressing whatever prompts, questions that they're asking you, its entirety. Make sure that your letter writers are addressing the program that you're applying to. Don't send an old letter recommendation in. And also follow up, make a phone call or send an email to ensure that the program has received your application and everything is complete. So a lot of these applications are very competitive. Hopefully next year that we can expand my summer mentorship program and make it even bigger. But there are certain things that you have to do. Hopefully some of these tips will not only help you if you apply to my program, but apply to other programs that are out there, including positions or jobs, so that you can be successful. This is Dr. Webb. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.